Okay, this should be our final video on ChemSketch. You've seen the previous two videos. You know how to draw your structures. You know how to kind of manipulate and play with those a little bit to get them to look like you want them to. So now we're going to talk about how to draw up kind of your lab setups. So I'll show you the basics of that. First thing I'm going to do, when you draw these lab setups, they're kind of large, and so I usually zoom out just a little bit. Or even a lot sometimes, just so you can kind of see stuff a little bit better, because the setups are kind of large. Alright, so your lab equipment, if you go to the top, you'll see templates, template window. Alright, and when yours comes up, it's I've already went through this one time, so when yours comes up, it'll look like this. It'll just be a bunch of structures, and you'll be like, wow, what's this mess? So a lot of stuff is cool if you're doing organic chemistry, but for this class, you need to look on your left, and you'll go down, and you'll see Lab Kit. So click on your Lab Kit, and you have basically 7 pages of lab apparatus that you can choose from. You can see up here, this is page 1 of 7. So you can either drop down and just select them, or you can just page through. You can see you have lots of stuff here that you can pick from. So for instance, let's start out with a burette holder, and you can see you pick it, and there it is. If you add as many as you want, and then hit escape, and that's that. Now let's say I want to stick a beaker under that. I'll go back to the template window again, and let's slide an Erlenmeyer flask under there. So escape. Alright, so now I got my flask under there, and there's, you can do all kinds of things. If I want to go back and let's do this. Filtering flask. So I'm going to get a filtering flask. I can pick my little stopper. A little Buckner funnel. And I can just kind of make my whole apparatus and setup very professional looking, very nice compared to either hand drawing, and it also prevents you from having to just kind of rob things off of Google. This is a much more professional way to do it. Also, if you're having trouble, like for instance in this case lining things up, you can go to options, and sometimes you'll have something called snap on grid, and if that is clicked, let's escape. If that's clicked, then sometimes it won't let you, say, center things up the way you might want to. So if you're having trouble, you're like, oh, I can't get it centered, it just won't go where I want, it just moves too much, or then go up here to options, unclick the grid snap. Just unclick it, make sure it's unclicked. And then it'll let you just put things wherever you want, and you can just see how I can center that up a little better now. Also, you can use your arrow keys, and you can kind of position things where you want them. Okay, well, I think this is pretty much most of the things that you will need to know for ChemSketch. If you run into anything that you're trying to do and you don't know how to do it, or you're confused, certainly feel free to ask me any questions. I'm happy to show you how to do. There's lots of things you can do with ChemSketch. We've just covered some of the very basic stuff. So if you want to learn more, or if you're trying to do something for your lab and you just can't totally figure out how to do it, then just let me know, and I'll be happy to try to help you out. Okay, one last thing that I kind of forgot to mention in the videos was, how do you actually get your beautiful sketches and drawings into your lab report? So I'll quickly show you how to do that. We'll draw something very quick here, such as acetaminophen, which is another common pain reliever. So quickly draw that out. Okay, and let's clean that up, and I'll put a label on it. Okay, so now that you have your, as a matter of fact, let's go ahead and make this just a little bit bigger. Alright, now that you have your beautiful drawing, so how can you get this into a Word document? There's two ways. One, you can select everything, and then you can go over to, oops, didn't even hit Control C to copy. Then go over to your Word document and just hit Control V and paste, and it'll just paste it right in there. And it basically is like a little ChemSketch object that is in your Word document. Now, the only disadvantage to this is it's not really treated as an image, so you can't really do any text wrapping or anything around it. So yeah, it makes it not as easy to wrap your text around, but it still works. Another option that you can do is you can do a file, save, or let's see, export. And so if we export this, we can export this to, I'm going to put it in pictures. You can put it wherever you want. I'm going to call it and I'm going to pick some kind of file type. Usually PNG is good. You can do JPEG, and then you can save it, and it'll save it as a PNG, and then you can do an insert, pictures, and whoops, it was in there, I saw it. Alright, acetaminophen. Okay. Either way works. You can also, another option is to use snipping tool. Looks like this particular picture that I saved, it doesn't look quite as clear as the one that I cut and pasted directly in. However, I can do text wrapping with the image. Also, another third way to do it is you can use something called snipping tool. And the snipping tool basically lets you just cut a piece of the screen, and here you can just cut this little piece in, just, yep, and you Control V to paste it, just paste it right directly into your Word document. So 3 different ways that you can get your structure. Of course, then once it's in there, you can resize it. If you want to do it text wrapping, you can let's see, square, whatever text wrapping that you want to do with it. And that's about it. The 3 different ways you can do it. Either of the ways works just fine. Once again, if you have any questions, just please let me know.